This is the third and final Swiss ball exercise in level 1. This is the third and final isolation exercise that we're going to learn on our path to integration. The point of this exercise, this is the Swiss Ball Prone Jackknife. The point of this exercise is to help you to develop the independent movement in the hips from the back, which is to say I want to teach you how to hip flex, also coupled in this case with the knee flexion, hip flex without spine flex, okay? So we've already helped to create this ability simply by learning how to connect to our spinal extensors in the leg raise and prone cobra. But now we're going to couple that extension that we've just learned instead of hip extension, which is kind of where we were with those exercises. Now we're going to couple it with dynamic hip flexion, okay? And so that's where it gets tricky for a lot of people to keep their back flat, is while they're squatting or bending, and now we're going to mimic that pattern. Now I said this is an isolation exercise, kind of is pretty integrated, to be honest with you, because we do have a lot of the upper body component. One thing I'm going to teach you guys when I get down is a variation on this exercise to make it a little bit easier if you struggle with the upper body component, okay? So this is the prone jackknife, the third and final exercise. Before we get to this point, we've already done the breathing assessment and breathing exercises if needed. The deep core stabilizer assessment and the exercises as needed. We've done the prone cobra. We've done the Swiss ball leg raise. Now we're on the Swiss ball prone jackknife. Okay, so from here, I want this ball 4 points, 2 on my knees, 2 on the balls of each foot. I'm going to come down and place my hands. From here, I'm going to walk out, and that is right about where you want the ball, right below your knees. You're in a push-up position otherwise. And this is the trick that I'm going to share with you guys. If it's difficult for you to hold your body up like this while you're performing this exercise, you can take a second Swiss ball and put it underneath your chest, and it will help to hold you up. And now you have less weight on your upper body, less weight to hold on to. You can also put an ottoman or anything else underneath your chest to help support you, anything that you have that you can use if it's difficult for you to hold yourself up. Just make sure that you understand the end range of this exercise is, in the concentric phase, is going to require you to bring that Swiss ball into a tuck with hip flexion and that neutral spine that we talked about. So whatever I'm using under my chest, I want to make sure it doesn't interfere with that path, okay? So this is the exercise. You guys can see it now. Here's the end of the concentric phase, and then back eccentric. Inhale, roll the ball in. Exhale, push it back out. Inhale, roll it in. Exhale, back out. Okay? Hands are shoulder width. Feet are about hip width apart. Don't need to keep your knees together on this Swiss ball. They're a few inches apart. Couple in your breathing with this. So we could actually breathe inhale as you come in, exhale as you come out. That would be the breathing pattern that you would use if you were weightlifting or extrinsically loaded. Exhale as you come out. So to prepare for kettlebells, that would be the breathing pattern. So there's your prone jackknife. Like I said, we're trying to develop the capability of hip flexing and also incidentally knee flexing while keeping our spine completely neutral. Because we've done the prone cobras and the leg raise, we've already been able to communicate to the muscles that are going to help here. But we also need to connect to that transverse abdominis that we learned in the deep core stabilizer, because honestly, that's going to be vital, especially when you come out to the full plank position, to prevent you from actually coming into hyperextension, which is also really common. So a lot of times in the plank position, people will succumb to hyperextension, and then as they tuck the hips in, then the opposite happens, and the hyperextension then turns into flexion as the hips come in. So your responsibility here is to keep the spine completely neutral, transverse abdominis engaged, and core engaged as you hip flex and hip extend. Okay, that's the purpose here. So once we have that capability, now we've got core stability, we've got breath, we've got neutral spine, and we have our hip flexion all coupled together in one movement. Guess what? Now we're ready to move on to bend pattern, squat pattern, and lunge pattern, which of the 7 primal movements are the 3 most technical. So those are the ones that you really want to spend some time developing and learning. The other 4 primal movements, rotation, push, pull, and gate, are also very relevant as we proceed, but they are not as technical and don't have the same learning curve. That said, some of those patterns can be very difficult for certain people based upon certain limitations that they have. Some people might have issues with their shoulder that make pushing exercises really hard, or they might have something going on in their back that causes their pull pattern to be compromised in some way. So a lot of times based upon injuries or other kinds of compensations, those patterns can be incorrect or deviated or painful or injury prone or any of these things, but that's not the same thing as them being highly technical movements, right? So bend, squat, lunge, pretty technical, a lot of integration when we get into those. That's where we're headed next. Practice the prone jackknife on the Swiss ball. Become competent with this. Make sure you're able to keep your back flat. If you're not sure about your back, you can videotape yourself or video yourself with your, I don't think we use tape anymore, video yourself and maybe do it without a shirt or a sports bra if that's what you do, you know, but make sure you can see what you're looking at, video yourself and watch the video when you're done. Another cue that you can do, of course you can have somebody spot you in real time and help you. Another thing that you can do though is you can get kinesio tape and you can put your back into extensions, you can arch your back, tape up your back, push that tape in nice and tight, and then what happens is if you drop into flexion, that tape goes really tight and you feel it immediately. It's a wonderful postural correction tool, and so you can use that when you're first learning these exercises so that you know, oh, I went into flexion, because you feel that tape get really tight on your back. Anyway, practice, assess, move on to squat, bend, lunge. When you get this nailed, we're ready to go, and as soon as you get those movements down, we're going to be picking up kettlebells, and that's where the fun begins. I'll see you there.